Hello, hello. Hey, Julie. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, Melanie. Hello, hello, and welcome to part two of Paranormal Piles Live. Tonight we are going even deeper into case number one, the Salem witch trials. Hey, Palm. Hey, honey. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I would love some, Melanie. I would absolutely love some. Is it the cotton candy blueberry? I can just imagine how that tastes. And it just has to be incredible. Don't forget to sing your dailies, go populars. Let's send those. Let's start sharing the live. 5 friends, 10 friends, 15. Let's start getting it out there. Hey, Pastelina Pink. Hello, Shirley. How are you? So, I found out amazing news last night. So I was very upset because halfway through Cherry Hill, the recording cut off because I've been trying to screen record it. So I was sitting there on the couch. It was right after the live, and I was so upset. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to record these lives. Guess what? TikTok records every live. I didn't know. Did you? So we're fixed in that area. I was so thrilled. I mean, I don't think I've ever had such good news in a long time. And I pressed on it and it was all there. And there's no chat on it. It's just a very clean interface. And I was like, this is just freaking fantastic. I am so happy about that because I don't have to worry about whether it's being recorded, if it's going to cut off in the middle of it, am I going to be in frame? It's just great. I am so happy about it. The only thing that would make it better now, chocolate. I need chocolate. Hello. I'm sorry, Pastelina Pink. Yes, I posted the first night of the Salem witch trials today. It's on there and it looks good. Hello, Nikki. Pastelina, I'm sorry. I came down with something too. I just cannot believe it. I've got my whole box of tissues. So, but I was like, I'm not canceling. I'm doing this. Even if I have a runny nose, so be it. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Pastelina, one thing that I found that has helped me, because I have terrible allergies anyway. So there are these things on the TikTok shop called boom boom sticks. And I got the pack of 4. And all you do is you just stick it up in your nostril, breathe it in twice. It just opens up and clears everything. Amazing. Boom, boom, sticks. You're recovering from surgery. How's that going? How are you feeling? Yeah, I would highly recommend boom boom sticks. My husband is very skeptical about stuff like that, and he was stopped up, and I said, just try it. Just try it. And he did, and he's like, oh, okay. 10 minutes. Let's get some people in here. I know that there are people that like witches, that like the paranormal, that like a good true crime investigation. This one, this one tops them all. I'm glad to hear that, Shirley. Renee, thank you for the follow. Hey, Pamela, how are you? Good to hear. Hey, boss man, thank you for sharing the live. Hey, Sandra Jefferson. Come on in, paranormal seekers. I'm just pushing through whatever this is. Hello, beautiful disaster. Oh, I love your name. Hey, Anna. Hello. Hello, Leo Bussier. Welcome in. My name is Bryn Morgan. I am a horror author, and I am fascinated with the paranormal. And that is why I started Paranormal Files Live. I want to investigate paranormal cases from all around the world. And the first case number 1, is the Salem witch trials. Welcome. Hello, Peanut. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Peanut. How are you? Hey, X. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Tonight is going to be really good. Really, really good. Are you ready for interaction? Are you ready for some hard questions? Are you ready to dive in? We're getting ready to do that in 6 minutes. And there's the cat. Do you see her investigating? Let's start sharing that live. Share it with everyone that you can think of. And if you haven't followed and you like paranormal investigation, hit that follow button and the notification bell and never miss another twist. I almost said Twisted Tales Live. I knew that was going to happen. Paranormal Files Live. I do too, Nikki. Where did she go? The tree. Really? Okay. Just 1 second. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are a ginger family. Everyone is ginger. Even the cats. Even the cats. Oh, a redheaded sister. I know, Nikki. It's like, oh my God, why do we have so many redheads in this house? And my husband and my daughter have green eyes, and I'm very rare because I have blue. I think if you have blue eyes and red hair, you're like maybe 2% or 3% of redheads actually have blue eyes. So I thought that was very interesting. 2 minutes. Oh, really, Melanie? Yeah, he's a rare one then. You can't really tell how blue they are on here, but if you look on YouTube, if you look on the White channel right now, you can see how blue they really are. I have people ask me all the time, do I wear contacts? No. One minute. Are they blue even with the purple? Yeah, I've got the bluest eyes. Sometimes that's what Mr. Night Queen and Little Night Queen call me. That call me blue. Hello, Andrew. Right. Exactly. What do the closet queens call me? I don't know. Hey, Don Juan. How is the music? I want you to be able to hear the story. Hey, Cruella. Music good, music good, seems fine. All right then, let's get started. Welcome to Paranormal Files Live. Tonight we are opening case number once again of the Salem witch trials. This is night 2, and you thought that night 1 was in depth. Wait till tonight. In the darkness of a Massachusetts prison, 3 women wait. Sarah Good, who is pregnant, chained, and praying to a God who has abandoned her. Sarah Osborne, she is dying. Remember, she's 71 years old, pulled out of her sick bed, accused of being a witch by these girls. She's forgotten Her body is giving out on frozen stone. This cell that these women and these men were put in is just horrific because the winter was already chilling and cold enough to be placed in a cell on a frozen block of cement or rock. It was a death sentence for her. And then we have Tituba. And why is she alive? Because she lied. Surviving because she told them exactly what they wanted to hear. But outside those prison walls, seekers, the nightmare is just beginning. Because when you tell a community that there are witches hiding among them, when you tell them that 6 more devil worshippers walk in their midst, they will find them. Even if they have to invent them. Welcome back to Paranormal Files Live. I'm Bryn Morgan. I'm a horror author, but I am also fascinated by the paranormal. And when I decided that I was going to do this live, this stream, the first case that I wanted to cover was the Salem witch trials. It has always fascinated me how this case, you talk about true crime, this case blows every other true crime out of the water. Tonight we're going to watch this witch hunt explode. Before we descend into tonight's investigation, I need to know who's returned to seek truth with me. Drop in the chat if you're returning from night 1, or are you new tonight? And where are you watching from? True crime by our government, absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, Black Veil. Welcome to Paranormal Files Live. Zoe Ann from Florida. Hey, Zoe Ann, how are you? So most of you are returning, and that is great. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, for those who missed night 1, you can watch it on the White channel. All you have to do is go in there and subscribe for free, and night 1 is up. So here's a brief recap. It was January 1692. 2 young girls, Betty Paris and Abigail Williams, started exhibiting violent convulsions, okay, after playing with fortune telling. The symptoms spread to another girl, and then another, and then another. A doctor's diagnosis came back as they were all attacked by the evil hand, which was because of witchcraft. March the 1st, 1692, the girls accused 3 women, Tituba, Indian, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne. 2 deny it, 1 confesses, and that confession, Tituba's confession, mentions 9 witches total in Salem. So that means 3 of them have been identified and 6 of them have not. That's where we left off. Let's begin. So, quick memory check for my returning paranormal seekers. What was the most disturbing moment from night 1 for you? What stuck with you? Drop it in the chat. Hello, Draggy's Fire. Welcome in. I'll tell you, I think one that really stood out to me was probably Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne. Uh, Sarah Good was 7 months pregnant, had a 4 year old daughter. They were already poor, living in terrible conditions in a shelter, freezing. And here she is being accused of being a witch by these girls. And then you have Sarah Osborne, who was 71, already close to the point of passing. And here she is being dragged to this cold, hard prison. And it's just terrible. So that is what stood out to me. But what about you? The girls acting like they were being tormented. Yeah, Scare Hunter, that was bad. So those moments did hit hard. Well, I hate to tell you, but tonight gets even worse. Tonight we're investigating how the accusations spread like wildfire, who gets targeted next and why, the formation of the Court of Oyer and Terminer, the first trials, and the first execution. The first execution was Bridget Bishop, June the 10th, 1692. By the end of tonight, we are going to watch one woman hang, and we'll understand how a entire legal system convinced itself that spectral evidence, invisible, unverifiable accusations was grounds for execution. Before we begin, how many of you believe that good people can participate in evil systems? That ordinary people can commit atrocities if they believe that they're doing the right thing? Drop a yes or a no in the chat. Yes, yes. Hey, Magic Moon. Hey, Cross Lady. Welcome in. Hey, Rhonda. As I suspected, most of you said yes. Now, good. Keep that in your mind, seekers, because everyone we meet tonight, the magistrates, the ministers, the accusers, the witnesses, they all believe they're fighting evil. Okay? They all think they're the heroes. That's what makes this so terrifying. Ready to investigate? Let's descend into the darkness together. March the 1st, 1692. Tituba's confession sends shockwaves through Salem and the surrounding towns. 9 witches, 9 signatures in the devil's book. That's what Tituba said. And they do not take it lightly. 3 are identified: Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba herself. The magistrate realizes that they are facing a massive satanic conspiracy. The afflicted girls realize that they have unlimited power here, and they can accuse anyone that they wish. And the scariest part of it all is they'll be believed. Okay. And the community is absolutely just terrified at this point, paranoid, watching their neighbors with suspicion. Within days, the accusations begin again. But this time, seekers, the girls get bolder. okay? They don't just go after the outcast anymore. They don't just go after the women that are not liked in the community. They don't just go after the poor. Oh no, no. These girls, no one is safe. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're young, or whether you're old. If they call your name, God help you. They go after respectable members of the community, church members, landowners, people with reputations and families. And every single accusation follows the same pattern. Let me tell you about Martha Corey. Now, her age is approximately 65 years old. Her status is she's a full member of the Salem Village Church. Her reputation is she's pious, she's devout, she's respected. They have land, her and her husband Giles. They are wealthy farmers. They own significant property with her husband. And here's the crucial detail. Seekers, Martha Corey made a fatal mistake. Quick question. If you lived in Salem in March 1692 and you thought the witch accusations were suspicious, what would you do? Drop it in the chat. Now, here's a few things that you can think about. Would you speak up publicly against the accusations? Would you share doubts privately with trusted friends? Would you stay silent and keep your head down? Or would you pretend to believe to protect yourself? I can't wait to see these comments. Shirley says investigate. Scare Hunter says I would have to keep quiet just to not be accused. Black Bell says investigate. Beautiful disaster. Anna says stay to myself. Pamela says speak up. Melanie says I'd speak up. Nikki says stay quiet. Rhonda says investigate. Interesting. Most of you said to stay silent or share your doubts privately. I'm right in there with you. I think that's smart. But Martha Corey, she spoke up publicly. Martha Corey attends a meeting where people are discussing the afflicted girls. And she says, and this is actually documented in historical records, that she thinks that she thinks the girls are lying. She also goes on to say that she thinks that their fits are theatrical performances, that the community is being manipulated by these girls. She questions the validity of spectral evidence. She says that the devil could appear in anyone's shape to deceive the accusers. She's absolutely right. And, I have to say, Martha, that was very brave of you to do. But knowing how tense and how on edge that everyone is here, I think I would have just kept my thoughts to myself and just been quiet. I would not have had the spotlight turned directly on me. So, That's my thoughts on that. And by what she did, it gets her accused of witchcraft within days. On March the 19th, 1692, Etten Putnam Jr. has a vision. She sees a witch's specter tormenting her, but she can't see the witch's face clearly. The specter tells Anne to open her eyes and see who torments her. So she opens her eyes. And who does she see? Martha Corey. March the 21st. The meeting house is packed even fuller than ever before. People are starting to hear about this from neighboring towns. It's not just Salem at this point. Everyone wants to see if a church member, a respected woman, can really be a witch. Martha Corey enters with her head held high. I have to commend her. She's brave. She's not frightened like Sarah Good was. She's not confused like Sarah Osborne. She's angry. Magistrate Hawthorne. Martha Corey. You are now before authority. Tell me, why do you hurt these children? Martha Corey responds. She's firm, but she's defiant. I do not hurt them. I am an innocent person. I have done no harm to those girls. Magistrate Hawthorne. Do you not see that these children are tormented? Martha Corey. I see that they act as if they are tormented, Magistrate Hawthorne. But I do nothing to cause it. And that phrase, act as if, seals her fate. She called them actors, performers, liars. So what happens when she does that? The afflicted girls erupt. The convulsions are more coordinated now, more dramatic. These girls have had practice. Ann Putnam Jr. starts shrieking, There! They're on the beam! Do you not see her? It's Martha Corey's specter! She's on the beam above us! And Martha Corey is standing there and listening to Ann Putnam Jr. accuse her. Abigail Williams, she starts pointing. She has a yellow bird! It sits between her fingers! She's feeding it! Mercy Lewis, gasping. The bird is suckling blood from between her fingers! The crowd gasp. Everyone stares at Martha Corey's hands that are folded in front of her with shackles on them. Of course, they see nothing. Spectral evidence is invisible to everyone, except the afflicted. But here's where it gets truly insidious, seekers. Now pay attention to this. Watch what happens next. Magistrate Hawthorne. Martha Corey, do you not see what you do? When you shift your eyes, the children's eyes are shifted. Martha Corey is standing there and she's confused. I do not understand what you... Martha just shifts her eyes, and all those girls on that front row, remind you, on the front row, shift theirs. Abigail Williams, her eyes immediately roll in the same direction. You have to give it to these girls. They're good. They are really good. She calls out and screams, "She moves! When she moves, we move!" Magistrate Hawthorne, when you clasp your hands, they clasp their hands. You control them with your specter. Martha Corey, she's frustrated. She's clasping her hands in exasperation. "This is ridiculous! I am not!" The girls immediately clasp their hands, rigid, unable to release them. Ann Putnam Jr. says, "I cannot open my hands. She binds them. She binds us." Do you see what's happening, seekers? Any movement that Martha makes, any natural gesture, the girls mirror it and claim she's controlling them with her specter. If she bites her lip, the girls bite their lips and scream that she's biting them. If she shifts her weight from one foot to the other because she's wearing shackles, the girls stagger and claim that she's pushing them. If she looks at them, they claim her spectral eyes are piercing them like knives. She literally cannot move without being accused of supernatural attack. This is a no-win situation. It doesn't matter what Martha Corey does at this point. No one is going to believe her. Question for you. What could Martha Corey do at this point to prove her innocence? Think about it. Drop your answer in the chat. Is there any action that she could have taken that wouldn't be used against her? They do. They play off everything that she does. They are mocking her. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Casper, how are you? Welcome in. Hey, Rose. No. There is nothing that they can do. Nothing that she could do at this point. There is no defense. That's the genius and the horror of spectral evidence. The accused cannot win. They cannot win. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. She's guilty. She was guilty from the moment that she walked in that courtroom. If you deny it, you're lying. If you confess, you're guilty. If you stand still, your specter is acting independently. If you move, you're controlling the afflicted with supernatural power. So at that point, I would just throw my hands up. There is nothing I can say or do that's going to change your mind. I know me. That's probably what I would have said. Every single response is interpreted as evidence of guilt. Magistrate Hawthorne, Martha Corey, confess, confess and save your soul. Martha Corey, her voice rising, I am innocent. I will not confess to a lie. My God in heaven knows that I am not a witch. I am a gospel woman. Magistrate Hawthorne, a gospel woman are you? Then pray. Pray before us now. So Martha Corey begins to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven. Abigail Williams starts screaming, cutting her off. Her specter stops my ears. I cannot hear her false prayers. Mercy Lewis, she chokes me. Her prayer chokes me. These girls, they're so evil. Martha Corey is desperate now. She turns to Magistrate Hawthorne. How can I pray? How can I pray to my God if every word I speak is called an attack? Magistrate Hawthorne, because you are a witch. Martha Corey, your prayers are mockery. Take her away. Martha Corey is dragged from the meeting house, protesting her innocence. That woman wasn't a witch. She will hang on September the 22nd, 1692. Her husband, Giles Corey, an 80-year-old man I mentioned on Monday night, will be pressed to death under stones 5 days before she hangs, refusing to enter a plea, so his property cannot be confiscated. So when these people were accused of being a witch, of practicing witchcraft, the magistrate would order that everything was taken from them. Their animals, their farm, their land, their clothes, furniture, everything was to be confiscated. And Giles Corey, he didn't want that. He did not want his land confiscated, so he wasn't going to admit to anything. A brave soul. But that's months away. Right now, it's still March, and the accusations are accelerating. Seekers, I want your honest reactions up to this point. How are you feeling about the afflicted girls? Are your opinions changing from Monday night? Because I know that some of you said they were possessed. Some of you said that, it was a sickness. What about now? What are your feelings about them now? Drop it in the chat. I want to see the emotional temperature. They are just acting. They are mean girls. Defiance and meanness. Look at that. Some people who said different things on Monday night are now saying different things. I think they are acting right. I'm seeing anger, disgust, but also some, different things. I don't think that they are victims at all. I think that they were girls that latched on to each other. They knew the temperature of the colony at that point. They knew that they were being looked at. They knew that they were being listened to. And I think that they just felt so much power. Bossman just summed it up. Little troublemakers. And now, seekers, we come to the case that shocked Salem to its core. Rebecca Nurse. Let me paint you her portrait. Rebecca Nurse is 71 years old. She's a full-time church member for decades. Her reputation is she is universally loved. She is known for her kindness, her charity, her deep faith. She would let poor people come into her house on a cold winter night and sleep in front of her fireplace. She would bring food to Sarah Good and her daughter. She was a good woman. I saw the mini-series last week. Shirley MacLaine played the part of Rebecca Nurse, and she did an absolutely amazing job with it. But this woman was a mother of 8. She was a grandmother of many. Now, she was frail because she was 71 years old. She was nearly deaf. And at the time that she was accused, she also was bedridden. This is not a scandalous woman. This is not an outcast. This is, by every measure, a saint of the Puritan community, attending church on Sunday for 8 hours or more, helping out her fellow man, doing exactly what the Bible ordered her to do: feed the poor, clothe the cold. Why would the girls accuse someone like Rebecca Nurse? I mean, let's theorize this together, seekers. Why would they choose Rebecca Nurse? This is a woman who was kind and loving and would, go out of her way to make sure that people had what they needed. Why would they call out Rebecca Nurse and accuse her of being a witch? I want to see your responses. This one's tough. Rhonda said a little bit earlier, they're terrible, hateful girls who get pleasure from hurting others. Yeah. Right, boss man. How are you going to practice witchcraft when you're bedridden? Cross Lady says it was power. Yeah. She was a frail and elderly woman. Yes, Zoe Ann, she was. She wasn't well. Why did they do it? Was it for the shock value? Like, oh, we are going to accuse Rebecca Nurse, and that is going to shock everyone. I get so angry when I think about what they made this old woman do. They genuinely believed that she was a witch, despite appearances. So that is a possibility. Now, there were a lot of family feuds that were going over. Someone wanted her land or had a grudge. They'd gone too far to stop, and they needed to keep finding witches. They were testing their power. If they could take down a saint, they could take down anyone. Or maybe something else. Maybe her father, because I know that there were conversations. Let's say the girl might have been asleep in her bed, but she hears her father and her mother having a conversation about a land dispute with the Nurse family. And so the girl thinks, Oh, I'll accuse her next. That will be my next target. The truth is, it probably was a combination, but here's the documented fact. The Putnam family and the Nurse family had a long-standing feud over land boundaries. Ed Putnam Jr., who was age 12, remember, is one of Rebecca Nurse's chief accusers. Ann's mother, Ann Putnam Sr., will also claim Rebecca's specter attacks her. Now, of every documentary that I watched, every movie that I watched, this was not something that was just, that was told. So that is very interesting. So, March the 23rd, 1692, Ann Putnam Jr. claims Rebecca's nurse, Spectre, appears to her and tries to force her to sign the Devil's Book in blood. A warrant is issued immediately. The constables arrive at the nurse's homestead. They find Rebecca Nurse in bed, and she's sick and she's barely able to sit up. They arrest her anyway. Her family is devastated. Her neighbors are shocked. 39 of them sign a petition that day attesting to her Christian character. Why in the world are they choosing to choose Rebecca Nurse and accuse her of witchcraft? 39 people willing to publicly support an accused witch. That is unprecedented. It doesn't matter though, because on March the 24th, Rebecca Nurse is examined before the magistrates. And when I tell you how they examined her, so Rebecca Nurse is brought into the meeting house. She's so weak that she has to be supported. Her hearing is poor. She does not hear well at all. She has to lean in to the magistrate to understand what's being said. The afflicted girls are already in their seats, waiting. Magistrate Hawthorne. Rebecca Nurse, what do you say to these charges? Do you not see that these children are tormented? Rebecca Nurse was gentle and confused. I can see that they are in distress, but I have done nothing to harm these children. I am as innocent as the child unborn. Magistrate Hawthorne, what do you make of this then? They accuse you of hurting them. Rebecca Nurse. I'm sorry, what did you say again? But she can't hear. He repeats it. I cannot help it if the devil appears in my shape. I cannot control what evil spirits do. And there it is, seekers. The logical defense. If the devil can appear in anyone's shape, then seeing someone's specter proves nothing. The devil could be impersonating an innocent person to cause chaos. This is the fundamental flaw in spectral evidence. But the magistrates don't want logic. They want confessions. Magistrate Hawthorne, would you have these children believe you are innocent when they all declare that you hurt them? Rebecca Nurse, her voice is slightly firmer. I must bear witness to my innocence before God and man. I am innocent, and I will die for it. And Putnam Jr. starts screaming on the front row. Did you not bring the black man with you? Did you not command me to follow him? Rebecca Nurse, I brought no man. I am an old woman. She looks to the magistrates and pleads, sick in bed. How could I bring anyone anywhere? Abigail Williams, convulsing. Your specter comes. Even now it torments us. All of these afflicted girls begin having violent convulsions. Mercy Williams, she's choking me. Rebecca Nurse's specter chokes me. Mary Walcott, she pricks us with pins. Look at the marks. The girls show their arms, displaying red marks, possibly self-inflicted, possibly psychosomatic. The crowd is divided. Some believe the girls, but many are troubled. They just cannot wrap their heads around their thought of Rebecca Nurse. How can this possibly be true that she's a witch? But watch what happens when debt and doubt emerges. Magistrate Hawthorne, to the crowd now. Do any here doubt these children? Do any dare to suggest that they lie? Total, complete silence. Magistrate Hawthorne, you know what he says? This is historically documented. I thought not. The children have no reason to lie. What would they gain from it? They suffer from exposing these witches, and we must believe them. Stop and think about that argument, seekers. The children have no reason to lie. What would they gain from it? Here's your question. What were the girls gaining from these accusations? Let me see it in the chat. What benefits did they get from being afflicted? So, attention, absolutely, power, escape from a boring life. Rhonda says pleasure, protection from punishment, community support, ability to settle grudges for their parents, fame, excellent analysis, seekers. The girls were gaining. They were gaining attention from every adult in the community, power over life and death. These girls had these people, these lives in the balance. Can you imagine how much power that they felt? I can kill you with one simple word. Witch. Someone said escape from punishment for the fortune telling. I think that was massive in this. Ability to settle scores and family grudges. People that the kids' fathers and mothers had fussed about at the dinner table, or heard in the middle of the night in their parents' rooms talking about it, them, how infuriated they were with them. This was the chance to get them back. Freedom from the normal restrictions of Puritan girlhood. Being the center of a massive drama. Yeah, definitely settling scores, Cross Lady. They had every reason to continue. They didn't want to stop. The real question is, why would they stop at this point? They're feared, revered. I heard that people even went so far as to, when they would move them from one place to another place because the crowds were getting so big, that people would actually walk up to the wagon that was carrying them and would throw flowers at them, praising them for calling out the witches of Salem. Rebecca Nurse, she's pleading now, nearly in tears. She can already feel the noose around her neck. I am clear of this sin. I pray that God will clear me, will clear my innocence. Magistrate Hawthorne, if you are clear, why do you not pray for these afflicted children? Rebecca Nurse responds with, I do. I pray for them every day, that they will find peace. Magistrate Hawthorne, take her away. The evidence is clear. Rebecca Nurse is removed. She's committed to prison to await trial. That petition, with 39 signatures, completely ignored. Her lifetime of Christian service, completely meaningless. Her obvious frailty and illness are irrelevant. The words of teenage girls and just claiming invisible specters attack them, that's all the evidence that they need. On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry are you right now? 1, if not bothered. 10, if you're furious. Drop your number in the chat. I am so livid. I am so infuriated. And as I expected, I was expecting to see a lot of 10s from my group. I know you. Good. You should be angry, and you're going to get a lot angrier because this is injustice in its purest form. Pastelina says they need to get out. Shirley says a 50. Right, right. I mean, here's the thing that should make you even angrier. This is the system working as designed. This isn't a bug, it's a future. It's a feature. The magistrates genuinely believe that they are protecting the community by removing these women. They think that they're the heroes. They think that they are Superman. Once Martha Corey and Rebecca Nurse are arrested, that is the beginning. The floodgates just open wide. Because if a church member can be a witch, if a beloved grandmother can serve Satan, then anyone can be a witch. The accusations come rapid fire now. On April the 3rd, Sarah Cloyce, who was Rebecca Nurse's sister, is accused after she walks out of a sermon in protest of her sister's arrest. April the 3rd, Elizabeth Proctor and her husband, John Proctor, accused after John publicly calls the afflicted girls, now get this, he calls the girls witches and says they should be whipped. April the 11th, George Burroughs, a former Salem village minister now living in Maine, is accused of being the black minister who leads the witches' Sabbaths. He's in Maine and called out. April the 18th, Bridget Bishop, Mary English, Giles Corey, Martha's husband, Abigail Hobbs, and others. April the 21st, Sarah Wilds, Mary Etsy, another of Rebecca's Nurse's sisters, Edward Bishop, and more. By the end of April, dozens are imprisoned. What do you notice about who's getting accused? Drop observations in the chat. What are the patterns that you're seeing? So, people who are ill, people who are weak, elderly women. I'm seeing relatives, like guilt by association, rich people, because remember, when they are accused, everything is confiscated from them. And where do you think that goes to? The magistrates. Property, absolutely. People with land or money that others covet. People who criticize the trials, criticism, calling the girls witches. That was a way wrong thing to do, especially if you're trying to stay completely under the radar. People that were involved in family feuds with the accusers' families, social outcasts and oddballs, outspoken people who don't conform, who do not conform to what the magistrate wants them to conform to, who does not conform to what people in the community think that they should conform to. And here's the most insidious pattern. Some of the accused start accusing others to save themselves. Remember Tituba's strategy? Confess, provide names, survive. Other accused witches start following that playbook. They start calling people out too. Hey, if I'm gonna die, then so are you. Abigail Hobbs confesses and names accomplices. Deliverance Hobbs confesses and names accomplices. Mary Warren, who was one of the afflicted girls, listen to this. Mary Warren was one of the afflicted girls, gets accused when she briefly recants, then confesses and rejoins the accusers. So she told them that that she was not being attacked by a specter, and so she says that, and then she confesses to it again that she is being afflicted and rejoins the accusers. The witch hunt is eating itself. Let's take an intermission. 10 minutes. Go get whatever you want. And when we come back, we're going to continue night 2 of Paranormal Files Live, the Salem Witch Trials. Rhonda, thank you for sharing the live. Hey, Amy, how are you doing? This case is just unreal, isn't it? It is just one of those that just infuriates me so badly. It's like, wow. I'm good, Amy. I'm doing well. We're getting closer to the weekend. I hear that, Melanie. So, if you're just coming in, tonight we are discussing the Salem witch trials. This is night two of it. If you have not subscribed on the White channel, you have access to all the content on there. And night one of the Salem witch trials. I just found out last night that TikTok actually records the full live. And I am so happy about that. So thrilled. So you will be able to have access to that. Tomorrow night on Twisted Tales Live is the Crimson Queen. Yep, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for the likes. Thank you, Melanie, for the 1 minute warning. Thank you for being here and just being present and being here and supporting. Thank you so, so much. 517 on the White channel. Awesome. Can we get to 520 subscribers tonight? That would be amazing. So we hit one of our first goals, which was 4,000 viewing hours on White Tea. And when I first heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a mountain to climb. But we did it. And then we hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. And now we got to have 1,000. So share it with everyone that likes scary stories in your community, mom, dad, sister, brother, cousins. Share it with them. Let them know that there is a Paranormal Files Live where we investigate paranormal cases from all over the world. That is fabulous. Fabulous. Um, oh, I would love to see the Northern Lights. Apparently, we can't see them too well from where we are here. Rhonda, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. All right, it's time to get back into the Salem witch trials. By late May 1692, the jails are overflowing. They are packed. Dozens of accused witches are chained in filthy dungeons in Salem, Boston, Ipswich, and Cambridge. So it wasn't just a Salem prison, it was three or four others. They needed trials, they needed a proper court. On May the 27th, 1692, the newly arrived Governor William Phips established the Court of Oyer and Terminer. Now, quick language lesson for you seekers. Oyer and Terminer in the old French legal terminology. Anyone want to guess what it means? Drop guesses in the chat. Oyer and Terminer. What does that mean? Anyone? Well, it means to hear and determine. A special court created specifically to hear and determine these witchcraft cases. The judges appointed. So, Chief Justice William Stoughton, he is the lieutenant governor. He's a true believer who is absolutely convinced that witches are real and that they must be destroyed. And then you have other judges that included Samuel Sewall, John Hawthorne, yes, the magistrate from the examinations. He was brought in, Jonathan Corwin, and others. These are not trained jurists. These are politicians and merchants playing at being judges. And they make a fatal decision. They decide to accept spectral evidence as valid testimony. So let me make sure that we all understand what that means. Spectral evidence is invisible to everyone except the accuser. It's impossible to verify. It's impossible to disprove, and based entirely on the word of the accuser. So, question. In what modern context would we accept evidence that only one person can see and no one else can verify? What do we allow this today? You're probably going to have a hard time doing that because we don't accept this in modern courts. We don't accept that. That's the point. But in 1692 Salem, this becomes the primary evidence. If a girl says, "I see Sarah Good's specter choking me," that's treated as factual evidence that Sarah Good is guilty of assault via witchcraft. The accused cannot produce the specter. They cannot cross-examine the specter. They cannot disprove that something is invisible, that it's real. They cannot disprove it. It's the perfect, unfalsifiable accusation. But here's the thing. Even some people in 1692 recognized that this was insane. Now, Increase Mather, some of these names back then, he was a prominent Boston minister, and he was already questioning spectral evidence. And he will later write in his journal, it were better that 10 suspected witches could escape than that one innocent person should be condemned. But in June 1692, the Court of Oyer and Terminer does not care. They're ready to start trying cases. They're ready to start hanging witches. June the 2nd, 1692, the first trial begins. The accused, Bridget Bishop. Let me tell you about Bridget. She's, again, 60 years old. Her occupation is she's a tavern keeper. She's been married 3 times. 2 of her previous husbands had died. Her reputation, scandalous by Puritan standards. She's known for wearing bright, flashy clothing, including a red bodice. I love red bodices. um, so, in Puritan society, wearing colorful clothing was seen as vanity and worldliness. The only color that they wore was black or brown or maybe a dark blue. Good Puritans wore black, brown, gray, navy blue, somber colors. How many of you have been judged or criticized for your appearance, for your clothes, your style, your aesthetic? Drop a me if you've experienced this. I face it every night in my life. Why is she dressed like that? Why does she have a crown on her head? Why? Because I damn well want to. And she wanted to wear red. She wanted to wear color. I always say I was not made to be beige. I love color. I love any color. I love it. I love blue. I love green. I love orange. I love red. I love pink is my least favorite, but I'm growing used to it because I bought a gown that is hot pink and it's lovely. But she loved color, and she was criticized for it, looked down because of it. Um, and look how many of you have faced the same thing. Right. Now, imagine that judgment could get you executed. So that's what Bridget Bishop faces. Bridget Bishop has been accused before, okay? Back in the 1680s, she was suspected of witchcraft, but was never formally charged. Okay? She has a reputation for being difficult, argumentative, and most damning of all, not appropriately submissive for a Puritan woman. I'm telling you, I would have been hanged. I probably been the first one to Gallows Hill. And that's okay. I'm who I am. She also runs a tavern. And this is a big no-no. She runs a tavern where people drink and play shuffleboard. And both are considered sinful activities. She's the perfect first target for execution. She's not beloved like Rebecca Nurse, not respectable like Martha Corey, but not as utterly destitute as Sarah Good. Bridget Bishop is the test case. The Court of Oyer and Terminer convenes. Chief Justice William Stoughton presides. Now, this is a Massachusetts first formal witchcraft trial, so keep that in mind. Bridget Bishop is brought in. She's 60 years old, but she enters with her head high and she's defiant. Chief Justice Stoughton. Bridget Bishop, you stand accused of sundry acts of witchcraft. How do you plead? Bridget Bishop. Not guilty. I am no witch. I know nothing of it. Chief Justice Stoughton. The evidence will speak for itself. Let the accusers testify. The afflicted girls are brought forward. By now, they are professional witnesses. They know exactly what to do. They know exactly how to get reactions from the judges and the crowd. The girls are coordinated. They are rehearsed. They are putting on a show. Abigail Williams. Bridget Bishop Spector has come to me many times. She brings the black man with her. She has tried to force me to sign the devil's book. And when I refuse, she tortures me. Ann Putnam, Jr. She appears as a specter and pricks me with pins. See the marks on my arms. She chokes me in the night. I wake gasping for air. Mercy Lewis. Her specter takes the shape of a bird, a black bird with red eyes. It pecks at me. It tears my flesh. Chief Justice Stoughton. You have heard the testimony, Bridget Bishop. What say you? Bridget Bishop. They lie. I have never seen these girls in my life until these proceedings began. Chief Justice Stoughton. But they have seen you. They have seen your specter. These girls have no reason to lie. But the afflicted girls aren't the only witnesses. Others come forward. And this is where it gets interesting and very disturbing. Witness John Bly stands up in the middle of the courtroom. I can testify to Bridget Bishop's witchcraft. The judges turn. What have you to say? Years ago, I was hired to remove a wall in her cellar. And behind that wall, we found puppets. Chief Justice Stoughton. Puppets. Explain for the court. John Bly. Ragdolls. Stuck with pins. Hidden in the wall. Witches use these to torture their victims from afar. You stick a pin in the doll, the victim feels it in their body. Seekers, pause with me here. Puppets found in the wall. This is presented as definite proof of witchcraft. What innocent explanations could there be for finding rag dolls with pins in them? Now think creatively and drop your theories in the chat. Why would she have rag dolls with pins in them in her wall? Maybe Bridget Bishop was indeed a witch. Maybe she did indeed practice witchcraft. What do you think? Sewing things, Scary Hunter says. Right, Shirley. How does he know about them? So, it could be a children's toy, though. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's a witch. It could be sewing samples, storage of pins, previous owners' belongings, etc. Right, sewing things. So there are many innocent explanations, but in 1692, Salem, rag dolls with pins immediately equaled witchcraft. Boom. Case closed. Another witness comes forward, Samuel Gray, and his accusation is more serious. Bridget Bishop killed my child through witchcraft. My infant fell ill after she visited our home. The child died that night. She cursed my baby. Now, we do know that infant mortality in 1692 was extremely high. Around 30% of children died before age 5. Most deaths were from disease, malnutrition, or complications that we now can easily treat. But in Salem 1692, if your baby dies after someone you dislike visits, that's witchcraft. What are modern equivalents of this thinking? When do people today blame tragedy on a scapegoat rather than accepting random misfortune? Drop some examples. So, it could be blaming vaccines for autism, blaming specific foods for illness, blaming technology for social problems, etc. Right, exactly. It could have been Sid's scare hunter. William Stacy was the next witness. Bridget Bishop bewitched my cart. I was carrying lumber past her house. She came out and we had words. I refused to give her charity. Later that day, my car wheel fell off for no reason. She cursed my cart. Okay. And that makes her a witch, not a loose bolt. Bridget Bishop is frustrated and desperate at this point as these people are coming against her. A cartwheel fell off, and this is proof of me being a witch. Cartwheels fall off. Wood breaks. These are natural occurrences. It was just a broken peg. Chief Justice Stoughton. Natural occurrences do not happen immediately after confrontations with suspected witches. The timing is clear evidence of supernatural cause. Think about that. Logic. After A happened, B happened, therefore A caused B. This is a logical fallacy called post hoc ergo propter hoc. After this, therefore, because of this. We still do this today. What's an example of faulty cause and effect thinking you've heard recently? I heard someone say the other day that they normally get out on the left side of the bed, but this time the sun was shining through the curtain, so they rolled out on the right side of the bed. And she was talking about how it had destroyed her day. She ended up having a flat tire. She ended up being pulled into the boss's office and given a reprimand. all because she rolled out of the wrong side of the bed. The trial continues. More spectral evidence, more coincidental misfortunes blamed on Bridget Bishop, more witnesses claiming that she appeared in their dreams or her specter visited them. Not one shred of physical, verifiable evidence, just stories, interpretations, and suspicions. And at the end of the day, the jury deliberates and they reach a verdict. Guilty. Bridget Bishop is convicted of witchcraft and sentenced to death by hanging. Based on what you've heard, do you think the jury genuinely believed that she was guilty? Or do you think that they were just afraid to acquit her? Drop believed or afraid in the chat. Shirley says afraid, X says afraid, Sandra says afraid, Cross Lady afraid, Boss Man afraid, Scare Hunter afraid. Yeah, definitely afraid. Julie says afraid. All of you believe that they were afraid. And this is a crucial question because it determines whether this is a tragedy of ignorance or a tragedy of cowardice. My assessment is probably both. Some jurors believed, some were afraid, some went along with the group, just like most atrocities throughout history. A combination of true believers and people too scared to dissent. June the 10th, 1692, 8 days after her conviction. Bridget Bishop is taken from her cell. She's chained, put in a cart, and transported through Salem village to Gallows Hill. Now, she's already suffering in a cold, dank, dark, stinky, disease-ridden prison cell. Now she's put on a cart in shackles. And let me tell you, the things that were thrown at Bridget Bishop when she was on her way to her death would have been fruit, rocks, other liquids, terrible things. Kids would have picked up rocks in the road and thrown them at her, pebbles. So she's had no way of shielding herself from what was coming at her. Now the hill is actually a rocky outcropping on the edge of town. Not a proper gallows. It's just a large oak tree with a strong branch. A crowd gathers, and I don't want you to picture 10 people, 15 people, picture hundreds of people. Some praying, some celebrating, some silent and troubled. Bridget Bishop is led up the hill. Let me describe what a hanging in 1692 entails, seekers, because this isn't Hollywood. This isn't a quick drop with a broken neck. This is the short drop method. So the condemned stands on a ladder or a cart. I saw one depiction where they were standing on a barrel. A noose is placed around their neck. The ladder is removed or the cart is pulled away. They show on the movies that most people die immediately, but that is just not the case. The condemned doesn't die instantly. They strangle slowly. It takes minutes. They kick. They struggle. Their face turns purple. Their eyes bulge. The crowd watches it all. Bridget Bishop is given a chance to confess, to save her soul, if not her life. But she refuses. She says, "I am no witch. I am innocent." There she stands on a ladder. The ladder is kicked out from under her. Bridget Bishop hangs until she's dead. Her body is cut down and buried in a shallow, unmarked grave nearby, stripped of all her clothes. No Christian burial, no marker, just a hole in the ground. And soon she will be accompanied. Massachusetts has just executed its first witch, and it will not be the last. Sit with that for a second. Bridget Bishop is dead, executed by the state for crimes that did not happen. None of them happened, based on evidence that could not be verified. What are you feeling right now after hearing that? I just continue to feel pure anger. But what do you feel? Angry, very mad and sad, anxious, creeped out. Hey, Tracy. I know, Palm. I know. But it absolutely was. Hey, who's that girl? So, probably most of us are feeling horror, anger, sadness, rage, and those are all appropriate responses. Here's what makes it worse, seekers. This could have been stopped. At any point, someone with power could have said, "No, this is wrong. We're stopping this now." But they didn't. Right, Cross Lady. Cross Lady just said, just makes me think how quickly people are accused without due process. So mad. Yeah. And then Rose said, sick with sadness. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. One of the things that I heard, I think that was the most disturbing of all of it, was Sarah Good, who was accused of witchcraft. She had a 4-year-old daughter, 4.5. She ended up being accused of witchcraft. 4.5 years old. Her wrists were so tiny that they had to build and make special shackles to put on her wrist and her ankles. These people had went absolutely insane to accuse a 4.5-year-old girl. They put her in a cold, dark, dank prison cell. Right, Alabama. That is one of the most insane things that I ever heard, and I cried. I could not believe it. It was the most terrifying and chilling thing. And there was another incident, which I'll talk about in a minute, but this one was just unbelievable. I mean, at this point, they didn't care. Stopping meant admitting that they were wrong, admitting that they had already imprisoned innocent people, admitting the afflicted girls were lying or mistaken. It had just, it had gone too far. Hey, Alabama. So instead, they doubled down. They kept going. You might think that after Bridget Bishop's execution, that reality would set in, that people would realize this had gone too far. Some ministers do start questioning at this point. They do. Some community members express doubts privately, but they will not speak up loudly. Some, they just will not do it. The trials accelerate because of it, because no one will step forward and say what they really think. Why do you think that executing one person made it easier and not harder to execute more? Drop your theories in the chat. Personally, I think, okay, we got one out of the way. Now let's get the others. Why do you think executing one person made it easier, not harder, to execute more? So, right, Shirley, exactly. So, really, it's called sunk cost fallacy. So we've already executed one person. If we stop now, we're admitting we killed an innocent woman. Better to keep going and justify the first death. The other one is commitment and consistency. Once you take an extreme action, it's psychologically easier to repeat it than to admit that you were wrong. The next one is desensitization. The first execution is shocking. The second is less so. And by the 19th hanging, it's routine. And then another reason is momentum. The machinery of death is in motion. It's easier to let it roll than to stop it. There was no retaliation. That's right. Just, double down on the atrocities. So by the end of June 1692, 5 more people are tried and convicted. And those include Rebecca Nurse, the beloved grandmother; Sarah Good, the pregnant beggar; Susanna Martin; Elizabeth Hoe; and Sarah Wilds. All are sentenced to death. But Rebecca Nurse's case has a twist that shows just how corrupt this system has become. Now, this is another one that was very hard for me. Rebecca Nurse was 71. She was a pious, Christian, kind, good-hearted lady. One of the girls came forward and said that they had seen a specter suckling on a witch's teat. So the magistrates and the judges decided that they wanted all of the women examined thoroughly. Now, most of them were removed from the prison, taken to a room, and were searched or just subjected to complete and total embarrassment right there in front of the guards that were searching them. They were looking for moles, um, any kind of abnormalities that were on the skin, anything basically that was raised could be considered a witch's teat. When Rebecca Nurse was pulled into the courtroom for her trial, the magistrate and the judges ordered her to remove her clothes. A 71-year-old woman. They ordered her to remove her clothes. She begged them, please do not make me remove my clothes. She was sick. She was cold. I just cannot imagine what this woman was going through. And the whole judges panel and the accusations were men. So they are sitting there, and the jury, the jury was nothing but men, right? So they are sitting there. They bring two midwives in and order Rebecca Nurse to be still as she is stripped of all of her clothes, made to spread her legs, and checked thoroughly with her arms up in the air to see if she has anything that would be considered a witch's teat. And they find it on the inner thigh of her left leg. That is humiliating. And the fact that she begged them, and that fact that she had a hard time hearing them because she could not hear well, is just the worst violation that I could not believe it. I was crying over that too. So, June the 30th, Rebecca Nurse's trial. The evidence against her is the same as always. Spectral evidence from the afflicted girls, coincidental misfortunes attributed to her, and the testimony that she's different somehow. The jury deliberates, and they return with a verdict. Get this. The jury, a group of men, come back with a verdict. Not guilty. Not guilty. The courtroom erupts. The afflicted girls immediately fall into the most violent convulsions yet witnessed. Screaming, thrashing. Some claim that they are even dying. That Rebecca Nurse's specter is killing them right now in celebration because she has been found not guilty. Chief Justice William Stoughton stands. He turns to the jury, and this is what he says. Gentlemen of the jury, I ask you to reconsider your verdict. You have heard the evidence. You see these children being tormented. Are you certain of your judgment? The jury is pressured. They're told that they had made an error. They're shown the suffering of the afflicted girls. They retire again, and then they return with a new verdict. Would you like to take a guess what that was? Guilty. Let that sink in for a moment. A jury finds her not guilty. The judge, who should be impartial, pressures them to change their verdict. And they change it to guilty. This is judicial corruption in broad daylight. Have you ever been pressured to change a decision that you knew was right? To go along with the group, even though you knew that it was wrong? Drop a yes or a no. I've never been in that situation. And I would pray that I would never do that. That I would be who I am and would say what I think. And I've done it before, and I'm not a very popular person, and that's okay. Right. I've lost friends for it, and that's fine. Then you weren't my friend. So this is the Ark conformity experiment playing out in real time. People abandon their own judgment under group pressure. I've heard people that have did it before. And this ends up costing Rebecca Nurse her life. July the 19th, 1692. 5 women are executed together. Rebecca Nurse, age 71, beloved grandmother, devout Christian. Sarah Good. Sarah Good was pregnant and about to deliver her baby at any moment. She was bitter to the very end. Bitter, too, that her daughter, her 4.5-year-old, was in prison, accused of witchcraft. Susanna Martin, she was defiant, laughing at her accusers. Elizabeth Howe, protesting her innocence to the top of her lungs. Sarah Wilds, she was the silent one. She was resigned. 5 women led up Gallows Hill, 5 nooses waiting, 5 deaths. But 2 moments from this execution will echo through history. Sarah Good stands on the ladder, noose around her neck. Reverend Nicholas Noyes stands below her, calling for her confession. She's swollen with her pregnancy. So not only did they take her life, but they took the life of her child. Reverend Noyes shouts up at her, Sarah Good, confess. You are a witch. Confess, and God may yet show mercy to your soul. Sarah Good looks down at him. Her voice is clear and strong, and she spits. You are a liar. I am no more a witch than you are a wizard. And if you take away my life, God will give you blood to drink. What did Sarah Good just do? What did she just do? What did she just pronounce? A curse. Sarah Good's final words are a curse upon the minister who condemned her. The crowd gasp. The ladder is pulled away, and Sarah Good dies. 25 years later, Reverend Nicholas Noyes will die of eternal bleeding. I get this. Hemorrhaging from the mouth, choking on his own blood. Coincidence? Almost certainly, but it's one hell of a coincidence, don't you think? Absolutely. God will give you blood to drink. Seekers, that curse, and 25 years later, he dies choking on his own blood. Now, here's a question for you. Do you believe in curses? Do you think Sarah Good had that power? Do you think that she was a witch? Or is this just confirmation bias and coincidence? Drop your honest opinion. So do I. I hear that, Alabama. So, probably some of you believe in curses, probably some of you do not. Some are probably very skeptical about it. But I have seen evidence of it, and I know that it absolutely is real. Whatever you believe, seekers, that curse has power. Not supernatural power necessarily, but narrative power. One of the things that I've always heard through the years is life and death are in the tongue. And what she spoke over him was death. The power, the narrative power of what she said, the power of a dying woman's words to echo through centuries. You take away my life, God will give you blood to drink, Nicholas Noyes. Sarah Good couldn't defend herself in court, but she could and did have the last word. And that is what I'm happy about. Rebecca Nurse is the last of the 5 to be executed that day. She's helped up the hill. She's so frail and weak. At 71 years old, hard of hearing, after a lifetime of Christian service, sick and frail, she's about to be executed as a servant of Satan. She makes no dramatic curse like Sarah Good. She makes no angry condemnation. She simply prays. Quiet, dignified. What do you have to say for yourself, Rebecca Nurse? I pray that God will forgive those who have wrongly condemned me. I pray these children will one day know peace. I go to my Lord knowing I am innocent of these crimes. May God have mercy on this community for what it has done. Grace, forgiveness, dignity. The hanging of Rebecca Nurse is unbelievable. Some people in the crowd begin to weep. Some people out loud actually begin to question, whether they are making a terrible mistake. But it's too late for Rebecca Nurse. The noose is placed, the ladder is removed, and she dies. A woman that was stripped of all dignity in front of the court. A woman that was sick and frail and loved everyone. The noose is placed around her neck. A mother of 8 children and many grandchildren. The ladder is removed. She dies. And the witch hunt continues. By the end of July, 6 people are dead, but dozens more are imprisoned, awaiting trial. The court of Oyer and Termina is just getting started. In August, 6 more people will be tried and convicted, including former Minister George Burroughs, accused of being the devil's chosen leader, the black minister of the witches' Sabbath. In September, 15 more will be condemned. 8 will be executed on a single day. September the 22nd, including Martha Corey. And in between these executions on September the 19th, 80-year-old Giles Corey will be pressed to death under stones for refusing to enter a plea. A definite blooper caught on tape. But that, Seekers, that is a story for Friday night. Tonight we've watched the witch hunt explode from 3 accused outcasts to dozens of respectable community members. We've seen the establishment of a corrupt court system that accepted invisible, unverifiable evidence as fact. We've watched a jury be pressured to change a not guilty verdict to guilty. And we've witnessed 6 executions, 6 people hanged for crimes that did not happen. Reflection time. We're at the halfway point of the witch trials. 6 are dead. Many more will follow. What's the most disturbing thing you've learned tonight? What revelation hit you hardest? Drop it in the chat. The 4-year-old. Yeah, I thought that I would probably hear that. That the jury was overturned by the judge, yeah. Palm says this whole thing is unbelievable, but so true. That those poor women were completely powerless. Tracy says, damn mad I missed tonight. That's all right. You can watch it on White Channel. That these girls had so much power over all these accused. You know, we talked last week about whether this could happen again. And after tonight's investigation, has your answer changed? Drop more likely, less likely, or same opinion? I would hope that it would not ever happen in this day and age. So I'm going to say less likely. Scare Hunter says more likely. Thank you all for being so honest with me. I really appreciate that. Yes, it could, and it has. Shirley says It wouldn't shock me, Rhonda says. It is kind of happening now, Sandra says. Yeah. Um, Here's what I want you to think about between now and Friday night. Um, if you were a resident of Salem Village in July 1692, what would you do? Would you speak out against the trials and risk being accused yourself? Would you keep silent to protect yourself and family? Would you leave town, abandoning your home and your property? Many did. Right, Alabama, they left town. That's probably, I could see my husband and my little night queen and myself and my kitty cats leaving. Would you join the accusers? Protect yourself by attacking others. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know how I would sleep. I wouldn't be able to do that. I think I would leave. I think I would get out of Dodge. I would speak out. I'm an honest person and mad when someone is falsely accused. I could see that from you, Melody. I could. There's no easy answer here, is there? Every choice, regardless, has terrible consequences. And that's the trap, seekers. That's how this happens. Good people stay silent because speaking up means death, and silence enables evil. Before we end tonight, what question do you need answered Friday night? What are you most curious about the Salem witch trials? Drop your questions, if there are any. Friday night on Paranormal Files Live, night 3 of the Salem witch trials, we will investigate George Burroughs and the August 19th executions, Giles Corey's death by pressing. Has anyone ever studied that? It is brutal, and I actually had a nightmare about it. The September 22nd mass execution, the beginning of the end, when the accusations finally go too far, and we'll ask, how did it finally stop? Before I let you go, though, if tonight's investigation left you disturbed, drop a skeleton in the chat. If you're coming back and you are so committed to finding out what happened for Friday night, but the conclusion, drop an I in the chat. If you have someone you want to share this investigation with, drop their name. Let's spread truth seeking. Thank you for seeking truth with me tonight, seekers. These stories are hard. They're uncomfortable. They force us to confront the darkest parts of our human nature. But they're necessary. Because if we don't learn from Salem, we're doomed to repeat it. With different targets, different methods, but the same human psychology. The same fear, the same scapegoating, the same willingness to believe accusations without evidence. The same silence from good people who know better, but stay quiet to save themselves. I want you to remember Rebecca Nurse, that died with grace and forgiveness on her lips. I want you to remember Sarah Good, who pronounced a curse in her dying moment. I want you to remember Bridget Bishop, who died insisting on her innocence. And we who live centuries later, we are the ones that carry the responsibility to remember them, to honor them by learning from their deaths. Friday night, we finished this investigation. We watch the final executions. We see how it ends. And we ask the hardest question of all. Could we have stopped it? Until Friday night, seekers, keep questioning. Keep seeking. Keep your eyes open to injustice wherever you find it. This is Bryn Morgan, your host of Paranormal Files Live, signing off. Until next time.